Welcome back to the Warrior Mindset Podcast, where we break down the mental, physical, and spiritual disciplines that forge true warriors, both on and off the mat. I'm Gene. Today, we're stepping into the shadows to explore a martial art that's as much about mindset as movement, the elusive and legendary Ninjutsu.
Welcome to the Warrior Mindset Podcast. We're your guide as you make your way through life, getting better 1% every day. We believe that life is lived and true victory won through adversity. Nothing easy is ever worth it. We believe in the warrior ethos and support those that...
Ninjutsu, the art of the invisible warrior. For centuries, the ninja have captured our imagination as masters of stealth, strategy, and survival. But beyond the myths and Hollywood portrayals, what does it really mean to be a ninja? Stephen K. Hayes. He's one of the first Westerners to train the art in Japan and bring it to America. He offers a fascinating deep dive into this ancient discipline in his book, Ninjutsu, the Art of the Invisible Warrior. Now, I have a copy of this book that I've had on my bookshelf since 1984. I used to read this book from cover to cover. I absolutely loved it, everything about it. I had all the ninja weapons as a kid, and me and my brother used to dress up like ninjas and play in the backyard. I even built a ninjutsu dojo in the room over our garage back when I was a kid. So this book has been with me for a long time, and I just love it. So let's get into it. This isn't just about smoke bombs or disappearing into the night. At its core, ninjutsu is a philosophy. I've done other videos on the ninja before, and there's a lot of Bushido and Budo and samurai related lore and living behind ninjutsu, okay? It's one rooted in mindfulness, adaptability, and most of all, resilience, or endurance. In fact, the symbol can mean endurance. It's about perceiving what others don't, following the challenges instead of resisting them, and mastering the art of survival. Whether that's combat, ninja stuff, or just daily life. So in this episode, we'll break down some of these key lessons from his book. We'll go into his book, review it. I believe it's out of print, but we'll still review it because it's one of my favorites on my bookshelf. A little bit of the history of ninjutsu, mental conditioning required to embody this ninja spirit, and how we can apply those principles in our modern lives, whether it's martial arts, leadership, or personal growth. So, are you ready to step into the mindset of the ninja? Let's go. So this book, Ninjutsu, the Art of the Invisible Warrior by Stephen K. Hayes, he is still alive as of the recording of this, and he's based in Ohio. I have made plans to visit him on more than one occasion, and they've fallen through for whatever reason. I will do this before we lose him. I'm going to try to get on a podcast with him as well. Let's get into that. So the book goes through the history, the philosophy, techniques, right, of the Japanese art of ninjutsu. Hayes, he's a martial artist, and he's, according to the book, the first Westerner to study under Masakai Hatsumi. He's a 34th Grand Master of the Tokugaru Ryu tradition. I don't know what that means. It means ninja. He just, it's sort of like, hello America, this is the real ninjutsu. Okay, and around that same time we had an explosion of ninja movies, and perhaps I'll do a podcast on like Shokusuji and the Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, Nine Deaths of the Ninja movie type series. Those were pretty cool when I was a kid too. Not so much as an adult; they're a little cheesy, but when I was a kid, they were the thing. So the book goes into the history, tracing origins of ninjutsu from feudal Japan and its development as a discipline of survival, espionage, warfare, philosophy. It highlights spiritual and mental training necessary to embody the ninja spirit, including mindfulness, adaptability, resilience. He's got actual exercises and things as well in there about that. Techniques, he has training, physical training, stealth, ninja stuff, which that's not so much when I was a kid I was really into, but as an adult, it's not really the part that I pay attention to. And then modern applications. So discussing how these principles can be applied to contemporary challenges and your personal growth and mindset. He blends historical context with personal experience and practical lessons in his writing. Makes the book both an introduction to ninjutsu and a guide for walking the path, like the warrior path, right? Which I always thought was cool. And again, this was like my first exposure to martial arts. Might have actually been my first exposure. I believe the first book I ever had was Bruce Lee's book, which we should do one on that too. But this was that one, or they were right at the same time, I think. So the philosophy, according to the book and according to him, the philosophy of ninjutsu stands out as a critical element in understanding the art, not just a set of techniques, but as a way of life. Okay, much like we teach in our Zen Shotokai and our karate, in the jujitsu I practice. He emphasizes that spiritual and mental training is necessary to embody this warrior spirit. It's important, if not more so than the physical aspects. All right. This philosophical core that he presents can be broken down into three key parts: mindfulness, adaptability, and resilience. Okay, mindfulness is the foundation of awareness. Okay, ninjutsu teaches that a warrior must develop acute awareness, not only for their surroundings, but also their own thoughts, emotions, and actions. So there's an internal thought process as well. This mindfulness is rooted in the idea that being fully present in the moment for the ninja, survival and success depended on an ability to sense those subtle changes in the environment, in other people, and in themselves, and develop that awareness, to be able to make like decisions, much like the modern military teaches that OODA loop, right? Observe, orient, decide, act. We've talked about that before. He connects concepts in meditation and breathing techniques, which help cultivate calm and focus. Okay? The ninja spirit thrives in the absence of distraction, allowing practitioners to act with clarity and purpose in modern context. This mindfulness translates to staying grounded in high pressure situations, maintaining emotional balance, and avoiding being impulsive and just reacting. The ninjutsu philosophy also embodies adaptability. This is encapsulated in the ninja's ability to transform themselves and their approach depending on the situation. Hayes frequently highlights that ninjutsu is not about rigid techniques or strategies, but about flexibility and innovation. The ninja were supposed to be able to change their role from warrior to spy to diplomat to negotiator seamlessly for whatever the circumstances called for. And, that's no easy feat. To Hayes, adaptability is a mental skill as much as a tactical skill. And the study is letting go of your ego and preconceived notions, embracing change, seeing obstacles as opportunities. We've talked about that a lot on this podcast. And in the modern world, this mindset is essential for navigating life's uncertainties, whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or society in general. Resilience is also at the heart of the ninja spirit. And for Hayes, survival in the face of overwhelming odds requires mental fortitude, okay, resourcefulness, unshakable will to endure. Hayes emphasizes in the book that resilience is not about brute force, but about the ability to stay calm under pressure, recovering from setbacks and continue moving forward with purpose. There's a lot of stoic thought in this as well. All right, so how does, we're talking about being ninja and stuff. So these things apply to us as modern warriors, right? Mindfulness allows you to manage stress and stay present in a world of distraction. We all live in it. Adaptability requires you to handle unexpected changes and pivot when needed. That's a very important skill. And then resilience empowers you to bounce back from failures. It enables you to maintain discipline and keep pushing forward, to keep getting better 1% every day. That's in the book, even in 1984. So there's some things in here I want to make sure I cover. I want to look at some of the pages and such. Man, the pictures, some of the pictures are just cool. It's all black and white on the inside, which is, it's sort of like what we got a lot in 1984 martial arts books and stuff. Okay. It's a big book and big type, which is cool. The early part of the book here is just going through a lot of the history, okay? A lot about the traditions, what it means, what people think about the ninja, There's a little section called Grim Reputation. He talks about the Togakuru tradition, his teacher. Section 2 is on training and some cultural values, much like you'll see in other books like In the Dojo, and there's a book called Tradition, and famous Hagakure. Talks about structure, life in a dojo, details like the kamiza, things like that. Talking about being a sensei. It's got some deep discussion on being a sensei, which is pretty neat. Etiquette in the dojo. There's a section on physical conditioning. He gives, like you'd see a lot on YouTube now, you'd see people giving demonstrations of exercises and things. Obviously we didn't have video in 84 like we do now, and he goes through a lot of different stretching and sitting and how to work and how to get warmed up and stuff, and then some drills for working with partners and things. Some intense stuff. He's got some handstand push-ups. A lot of this, honestly, pull-ups, dips and things, warming up with some weapons and things, how to get strong with weapons. He's got handstand push-ups in here. Again, man, like modern CrossFit, that's like a thing, handstand push-ups. It was very ahead of his time, I think, in a lot of ways in his training. There's this really old school leg press. I actually had one of these as a younger man. I had the same set with I don't know if you remember I got a picture of him here, but I don't know if you remember the weights with the cement inside. It's pretty funny. And then he's got a section on taijutsu, which is it's a term for fighting, like unarmed fighting, hand-to-hand combat, essentially. And there's this interesting diagram of what breaks down taijutsu or unarmed self-protection. It's like, self-defense without weapons. And it goes through. I've been doing martial arts a long time, and I've never seen it written like this. I mean, I have because I have the book, but I've not seen it anywhere else, where they've broken it down with, body movement, right? So break falls, rolling, leaping, etc. And then other sort of fighting fundamentals, striking, bone attacks, muscle attacks, whatever. You can debate the validity of whatever you're teaching there, or put things in there. And then grappling methods, throws, escapes, locks, controls, chokes. A lot of mixed martial art approach here applied to self-defense in this ninjutsu wrapping. He even goes through stances. In karate, we look at stances a lot. He's got a lot of, there's even, Zenkutsu Dachi is different things in here that, we go through as karate students. And it gets a little, hokey. I thought these were the coolest parts, weapons and fighting techniques and things like that. The books, it is about ninjutsu, so there's that kind of stuff in there, and, how to roll and everything. And I did a lot of these with my buddies, as a younger person, and, the weapons. And again, I had all these weapons and stuff, and I just thought it was neat. There's some funny things in here too that I look back on, like this one where it's like essentially how to vanish, and like the dude's like standing in the woods here, and then it's just like four steps of him just like rolling to the side and disappearing like a ninja. That's kind of funny. So there's stuff in here that's, it is what it is, right? But the fundamentals, I think the martial arts fundamentals that he's teaching here they're universal, or they should be to a certain degree with certain schools of Budo, right? It should be universal. So there's things that he's teaching. Strategic thinking and problem solving. One of the key tenets of ninjutsu is the ability to think several steps ahead and anticipate challenges, formulating solutions. That mindset's invaluable in modern life. You should be thinking ahead. Me and my wife often argue because when I drive, I'm only thinking about one step ahead. When she drives, she's thinking, she's literally thinking the whole route. And my brain doesn't work that way. Hers does, but she is a much better driver than me. Hayes emphasizes reliance on patience and foresight instead of reaction and impulsivity. So a lot of, the strategic mindset to like modern goal setting, project management, negotiating. It's important staying calm, thinking critically under pressure. So whatever exercises and mental practices you can have that helps you with that are invaluable. Perhaps it's ninjutsu. Adaptability is central to ninjutsu. Ninja were masters of transformation. They practiced changing their appearance and their tactics and using whatever approach the mission demanded. In modern life, that's crucial for managing your business, your job, your family. So embracing uncertainty, like your professional adaptability, right? Pivoting your career, economic issues in the world, right? Learning new skills to sort of skill up in your job. Those are all super important things. And this way of thinking can help you sort of manage that stuff, right? So, think of yourself as a ninja. The power of stealth and subtlety, right? Subtlety and focus. In our modern world, which is dominated by oversharing and most attention seeking, just think about TikTok for a second, right? That compared to achieving personal goals quietly, celebrating your successes internally, rather than seeking that external validation is, I mean, in today's society, it's just like rare. Mental resilience and emotional mastery. So the practice philosophy behind Ninjutsu places emphasis on mental toughness and emotional control, much like what Mark Divine is helping us learn with Seal Fit, right? In the Unbeatable Mind. Enduring extreme conditions, remaining calm in the face of danger. There's a story I reviewed a book in another podcast episode a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago, about a ninja, and there was a story about a ninja. The way that the mission was to take out some leader, and what they did is they went into wherever the leader was staying in his like mansion, and the ninja went in like 2 or 3 days beforehand and got under the water in like a koi pond and breathed through a reed for like a day or 2 days until they were there alone. And they popped out of that. They quietly came out of the water at night or whatever, so that they had infiltrated this mansion. But that was the method that they used for getting in. I mean, that takes an immense amount of emotional mastery. I mean, you know, it's hundreds of years ago. Who knows if it's true, but that's the story. You know, mental resilience in high pressure in the world, high pressure work, your job. So he goes over some techniques like meditation, journaling, you know, training martial arts in general, the physical training. And then living with purpose and integrity, the Bushido, the Budo. So one of the fundamental lessons through the book from Haynes' teaching is this importance of living with purpose. You know, the ninja didn't act randomly. Every mission, every moment, every movement, every decision had intent behind it. And Hayes talks about how having that clarity of purpose in your life enabled them to navigate complex situations and political issues and stay true to the goal, whatever their goal might be. So I know a lot of people struggle with that, feeling directionless and overwhelmed. I've heard that term from people. I'm overwhelmed and being distracted, you know? So reflecting on your own mission, your own life's mission, and how you can pursue that with focus and determination is probably priceless. There's a couple of pieces here that I thought were particularly cool. The Ninja Master's Admonitions. I'll read these. This is from one of his teachers or some historical teacher or whatever. So there's 5 of them. 1, know the wisdom of being patient during times of inactivity. 2, choose the course of justice as the path for your life. 3, do not allow your heart to be controlled by the demands of desire, pleasure, or dependence. 4, sorrow, pain, and resentment are natural qualities to be encountered in life. Therefore, work to cultivate the enlightenment of the immovable spirit. Hold in your heart the importance of family, loyalty, and pursue the literary and warrior arts with balanced determination. I mean, those 5 things are pretty solid. Pretty solid. And you'll see a lot of those in other martial arts creeds and forms. And, you know, even Musashi himself teaches some of that. So he's got another one in here. It's from the 33rd Grandmaster. Essence of happiness. The way to experience ultimate happiness is to let go of all worries and regrets and know that being happy is the most satisfying of life's feelings. Reflect back on all the progress in your life and allow the positive, creative, and joyous thoughts to outshine and overwhelm any sorrow or grief that may be lingering there in the recess of your mind. Knowing that disease and disaster are natural parts of life is the key to overcoming adversity with a calm and happy spirit. Happiness is waiting there in front of you. Only you can decide whether or not you choose to experience it. Take this to heart. That's a great little statement. You reflect on that a little bit. He's got a section here on breathing practices, and visualization, how to visualize. The only other person I've ever encountered that taught me breathing exercises and visualization techniques was Coach Mark Devine. And it's hard to argue that that man is not a true warrior, being a retired SEAL and a multi-black belts in different disciplines himself. So, cool book. And Stephen Hayes is widely recognized as a pioneer in bringing ninjutsu to the West. And his contributions to martial arts are respected by many. However, like many high-profile figures in martial arts, he's faced criticism and controversy over the years. And let's hit a couple of those just to make the podcast complete. Okay? One criticism is some traditional martial artists and ninjutsu practitioners have questioned his connection to authentic ninjutsu and his representation of the art. Sort of like, the Navy SEALs that talk about stuff they're not supposed to, but they do, and then they don't like each other and stuff. So, he did apparently train under this dude, Masakai Atsumi, whatever, he's in the book here. So it's some kind of ninja organization or whatever. He did train, but people argue that he diverged from those traditional teachings, creating his own interpretation rather than staying true. So, he is an American. Like, he did come back, and he had to sort of package it for Americans. Karate itself, that's happened between the Okinawan and Japanese lineages to the Americanized versions. And he's openly stated that his goal was to adapt and teach the principles of ninjutsu that resonated to Western audiences. We were watching this stuff on TV and in movies, So, yeah, I could see where that could be. I don't know that that's that hard to overcome, right? So some people have seen a rift between him and his teacher and that organization. And, the rift was over whether he actually had the authority to create his own system. And his system, it's Toshindo. That's what I think he calls it. He describes it as an evolution of ninjutsu tailored for modern self-defense, I think is what he says. So that was cool. It brought him some fame and followers and stuff, but it led to these accusations, right? So, he's commercializing something. Whatever. That's just American. It's an American. It's what people are, they don't like it, right? This commercialization of ninjutsu. And in a way, it's like that's helped preserve it. He's the only one really talking about it, really doing things with it, right? Otherwise, it's this shrouded, dark thing that everyone would have forgotten. So, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, right? So there's, critique of his actual system, the Toshindo system, saying that it's been too modernized, it lacks the rigor and depth of real ninjutsu. So, it's more of a martial arts brand than an actual lifestyle training thing. That's just the eye of the beholder, I think. I would tell you that the people that have trained with him probably tell you that that's not the case. We see that a lot. Another one is that he's all about self-promotion. I think every martial arts person in America, including Bruce Lee himself, was mostly about self-promotion. That's just kind of like the American way. He was more about, I wouldn't say he was more about, but it's about making money as well. So that's just part and parcel with being an American. Most of the stuff is just people don't like the fact that an American was doing it. And he sort of teaches this idea that this thing or any of these things should be about evolution and adaptability, not just being tied into tradition, right? I think that's not a bad thing. I'm an American that trains martial arts, so I don't know about that one. On and on and on, stuff like that. So while he's undoubtedly made significant contributions to martial arts by popularizing ninjutsu in his own way and sharing its principles to us Americans, that's just going to get you your critics, right? So, authenticity, commercialization, it's not the way the old guys would have done it. That you hear that a lot in other things. It is what it is. I think that it's a cool book. I wanted to share that with you. I've had it on my shelf since 1984. It's a long time, y'all. I've lent this thing out several times. I didn't think I would ever get it back at one point, and it just showed back up. So it's kind of amazing. This book shaped a lot of my early idea of what martial arts was, and then later as I sort of explored that world and I saw that some of the things he was teaching was actually in other martial arts and things, it sort of solidified that, perhaps he's the real deal. Say what you want about ninjutsu. Honestly, it's kind of silly, but it is a real thing. It is a real way of life, and I kind of dig it. I think you should check it out. Find any books on ninja and ninjutsu, you should pick them up and read them. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that it's not like they present in the movies. So there you go. Stephen Hayes. Would love to talk to him myself and hopefully can set that up. Wish you could get the book. Instead, enjoy it through this podcast. All right, guys, until next time, get after it.